Scripture, God has always had an affinity for geography.
From the Garden of Eden that God gave to Adam and Eve to plant and to grow, to the land of Israel that God promised to his people that was going to be their purchased, promised possession. At the beginning of my ministry, one of the most passionate verses that I've felt in the Bible, in fact, the very first message I preached in our new sanctuary, was regarding Joshua and the taking of the land. You say, why? Because I believe God has a destiny, a divine destiny, for each one of our churches as well as our state to take the land. Because it was destined by God to be their land. God told Joshua, and he said this very simply, he said, every single place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, God said, I have given you, as I said unto Moses. He said, Josh, you need to take the land. It's yours. Dominate the land with the one God message. Subjugate, dominate, influence the region. And so they went forward, capturing cities for the glory of God. So when we talk about the land generally, I think we have to ask specifically, if there's a land that's to be taken, how is that land to be subjugated and dominated? We find very clearly in Joshua that the land was to be taken one city at a time. And so Joshua went with the people of God under the divine direction of the Lord, and they went to Jericho, they went to Ai, they went to Jerusalem and Hebron and Jerimoth and Lachish and Eglon and Makkedah and Libdah and Lachish and Gezer and Eglon and all these cities. And literally God gave them their land. And I believe we've got a method that's been given to us in the Scripture. They took their land one city at a time. So Minnesota, land that I love, land of 10,000 lakes, albeit frozen lakes presently. Land that I love, revival land. Land that we love, the new belt buckle of the Bible Belt. Oh, we're not behind in anything, folks. Come on. Minnesota, land of thriving churches. Come on, Minnesota, epicenter of dynamic evangelism. Come on, Minnesota, land of love. 87,000 square miles, 87 counties, 853 cities, 5,700,671 people. Minnesota that we love. How are we going to take the land? I feel the Holy Ghost here tonight. I'll tell you how we're going to take the land. The same way that Joshua took the land. We're going to take the land one city at a time. Come on, I'm talking about Apple Valley. I'm talking about Moorhead, Worthington, Albert Lee. Come on, I'm talking about Duluth, Owatonna, Alexandria, Mankato, Bloomington, Indianapolis, Harrisburg, Harris, Porter. One city at a time. We're going to take our land. Now, Brother Lichtle, that sounds pretty exciting and neat, but how are we going to take one city at a time? I'll tell you how we're going to take one city at a time. We're going to take one city at a time, one church at a time. Catching what I'm throwing? One church experiencing growth, progress, dynamic, revival. One church at a time, one revival church at a time, one revival pastor at a time. How many thank God you got a good pastor? You need to lift that man of God up and say, that's my revival pastor right there. That guy stay in the pulpit, that's my revival pastor. Because he's going to lead our church in revival. And when he leads our church in revival, our city's going to have revival. And when our city has revival, and yours and mine has revival, then the land begins to get possessed for the glory of God. One revival leadership team at a time. One prayer meeting, one fasting, one evangelistic church at the time. I am proclaiming on this Friday night that we must, but we are going to, by the grace and the help and the power of God, take our state, the beautiful state of Minnesota, one city at a time. You can be seated if you can. 50% of our churches are under 50 people. 75% of our churches are under 100 people. 85% of our churches are under 150 people. 95% of our churches are under 200 people. What I am proposing tonight is what could happen if God gave a church of 30 a harvest and a revival of 20 new people, and now their church of 50. What would happen if a church of 70 people, God would give them a harvest and they'd be a church of 100 people? What about if God gave a church of 120 people a revival, maybe a 100-soul revival, and that church of 120 became a church of 200? Now, you know what I'm getting at. And I know there's people that may say, well, you know, does God care all about numbers? There's a beautiful book of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. Oh, yeah. God does count. Because you know what God counts? God counts people and He counts souls. And maybe that next soul that we win in our churches could be the next church planter that's going to plant a church in a city that's going to help us together to take the land. I feel like there is a coming wave upon our district that if a church, wherever you're at right now, can get to the next level by the help and by the grace of God. And we need a move. We need a move. But let me tell you what that move is going to do. It isn't going to give us ethereal, somewhere pie in the sky. That move is going to give us plans and anointed